Hi there, this is the appropriately named Poseidon trap in the two knights defense. Poseidon was the Greek god of the sea, and in this trap white gets mated by what we metaphorically call underwater mate. It's in the Paulsen line of the two knights from a game that Paulsen himself played with the black pieces in 1859 against an unknown player. We have e4 and e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and the two knights defense with knight f6. White plays the highly controversial knight g5, which was deplored by the likes of Tarash for moving a piece twice in the opening, but to its credit it does initiate a lasting attack for white, now on the f7 pawn. d5 is played to defend and block the bishop's diagonal, and after e takes on d5 and knight a5, the Chigorin line, bishop b5 check will win a pawn here, usually for white. After c6, d takes on c6, b takes on c6. White is a pawn up, but black has very active piece play and a dynamic position. Instead of moving the bishop from the threat of c takes on b5, queen f3 is a good try, because it pins that c6 pawn, and if it takes the bishop, then the rook on a8 is lost. Several moves here for black, rook b8 amongst them, but we can go for this line. This is the Paulsen line, queen b6. Now the queen is defending the c6 pawn and attacking the bishop on b5. So the bishop withdraws to a4, and black can gain time by developing bishop g4, hitting the queen. The queen moves over to e3, targeting the pawn on e5. Now this is quite a position I quite like, and I have no doubt that the best continuation here for black is simply to play h6, not to play the tempting bishop c5, but h6 hitting the knight, because the knight should run back. If white would be tempted to take the pawn, queen takes on e5 with check, then black is certainly winning, with a continuation like king d7. Now that rook is heading for e8 and hitting the queen on the e file against the king, while the knight remains targeted and vulnerable on g5. If white will play a move like knight takes on f7, then black is certainly winning. Certainly rook e8 will do the job, but probably even better is knight c4, hitting the queen, driving the queen back to g3. Now rook e8 check, and after king f1, bishop e2 check is going to send the king to g1, and bishop h5 is hitting not only the knight on f7 but threatening mate on e1, an overwhelming position for black. But if instead of that clever little move h6, black plays bishop c5 as Paulsen himself played, then queen takes on e5 is far from clear. Check king d7, the same threat of swinging one of the rooks over to e8, but white is doing okay after castles. If black tries bishop takes on f2, then it's too dangerous to play rook takes on f2, because then one of the rooks comes to e8 with a mate threat on e1 afterwards. But the king slides over to h1 and white's okay. After rook a e8 and queen f4, now bishop, which was under fire on f2, moves back to c5. And this is an interesting position in the game that Paulsen played himself. His opponent played knight takes on f7, went on to lose. d4 would certainly be white's best move here, and there's certainly a game on. If instead knight c3, then white gets unhinged by bishop retreating back to d6, and all of a sudden the queen in the center of the board is targeted, has nowhere to go at all. The queen is actually lost here. If queen back to f2, offering a trade of queens, then queen takes on f2, rook takes on f2, and rook e1 is checkmate, underwater mate, since the king, metaphorically, is under the water level. White could simply drop the rook back to f1, but rook takes f1 is mate. So this has been called the Poseidon trap in the two knights defence, the Paulsen line. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.